Today we're going to be making Monkfish Brodetto, or at least a version of it. This is going to be quite interesting, but we need quite a few ingredients in order to make this. Pounds worth of monkfish, parsley that used to be fresh, carrots, yellow onions, some garlic, love that, half a bell pepper, flour to dredge the monkfish in, capers, raisins, chopped tomatoes, olives, olive oil, a little bit of white wine vinegar, salt and pepper, of course. And we're going to be using that monkfish stock that we made on the first day of this challenge. You could also use a little bit wine and some stock instead of this. Please, Italian people, don't hurt me for ruining your dish. I think it's going to be good though, so maybe I will redeem myself to you. So we're probably going to be serving this with some bread as well, by the way. So first of all here, I just want to chop up everything that needs to be chopped. So that's going to be all the vegetables as well as our fish and parsley here. Now I'm going to save a little bit of parsley to garnish in the end. Now I've cleaned up this fish already, so we're just going to cut it into chunks about 1 or 2 inches. The goal is that we're going to be able to fit them on our spoon or fork once we're done cooking it. So I'm just going to slice these up. And the next step here is going to be that we need to fry our monkfish a little bit. So I'm adding a little bit of oil to the pot here. We're going to fry the monkfish for about 2 minutes on both sides just to get them a little bit brown. And I know my pot looks a little bit like a horror show here. So if you want me to get a new one, you have to buy my monkfish book when it comes out so I can afford it. For now, we're going to be dredging our fish in that flour that we have. So how I'm thinking that we go about this is that we just add our salt and pepper directly into our flour here, so that we can kind of dredge them at the same time that we are seasoning them. Otherwise, we could of course just season them beforehand. That would be fine as well. And we'll just add a touch of pepper as well in here then. You have to use as much as you prefer. I like a lot of pepper, and of course as a Norwegian I'm obliged to say that I love salt as well. So let's dredge these things. Remember to kind of shake them off after you have dredged them so you don't get too much flour. Now for our pot here, as you can see, they are frying quite quickly since they are so thin. I'm thinking maybe 2 minutes and they should start to brown. They're going to be nice and crispy with this flour as well. Wow, look at that. So yeah, just 2 minutes or so on each side, probably up to 4 if you have a little bit thicker ones. But we're going to be heating them up in the stew afterwards, so it's not the end of the world if they're not fully cooked through. Alright, so I'm just going to turn them around now. It's been about 2 minutes. So many of our slices here are starting to look nice and golden and crispy. So I'm just going to finish the rest of them off here, and then we're going to put them to the side for now. And I use pretty low heat, but you could probably go with high heat if you toss them all in there and you take really good care of them. So I'm going to toss all the onion in there, and these can be left alone for about 5 minutes. By the way, I'm also going to add just a tad of salt to these guys. Pretty low heat. We just want them to look translucent. And after about 4 minutes, we'll also be tossing the garlic in there to mix up. So 5 minutes total. And now we're going to be deglazing the pan. So I'm going to be using monkfish broth to do this, but white wine would be the classical way to do this. So I'm just going to add a little bit here, and I'm going to try to gently get that fond out here in my horrible pot. So just a few minutes should be plenty. The reason I'm not using white wine is because that monkfish broth that we made on day 1 has a lot of white wine in it as well. So I'm going to be adding in all the rest of the monkfish broth. In addition to this, I'm going to be adding in all our crushed tomatoes. And since the carrots will take forever to cook, we're going to be adding those in here as well. Now we're going to let this reduce for quite a while now, probably at least half an hour I'm thinking. And then afterwards we're going to be adding the rest of the ingredients in there as well. Alright, so it's about half an hour later and we are ready to add the rest of the ingredients here. So before we add this, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Italian table which inspired this recipe. I mean, Brodetto is quite a famous Italian dish, but the capers, olives and even raisins are pretty unusual. So yeah, shout out to them. Of course I have adjusted my recipe further, but let's add in all these. So that's everything including the celery and our bell peppers. So all that's missing now is going to be parsley as well as the monkfish here. So at this point we're going to leave it in here for another 10 minutes or so. So our Brodetto here is looking beautiful. Now it's been about 10 minutes, so I'm going to turn off the heat here entirely, and we're going to be adding in our parsley as well as our monkfish. The idea here is that we just want the monkfish to heat back up. So be nice and gentle to the monkfish so it doesn't break apart too much. And at this point you can add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste to your Brodetto if you so please. You can also add just a tiny bit of white wine vinegar if you want more acidity. You don't need much acidity in Brodetto, so it's really going to be up to you if you add it or not. So besides this, I'm also toasting some bread and adding a touch of butter. So we're just going to give this a minute or two more here to fully incorporate, and then we'll give it a taste test. So let's plate this delicious stew. Right guys, so let's give it a taste test here. I'm so excited about this one. Oh, it looks so good. Try to get everything in there. Like always, my mouth is literally watering here. Cheers. That is so good. Oh, this is again one of my favorites. I think top 3 for sure. Woo! I'm gonna add a recipe if you want to cook this yourself. You can check it out on the website in the video description. Tomorrow we're gonna cook another monkfish meal. Hopefully it's gonna be as good as today. I'm gonna link it here once it's done. And yeah, thanks for watching this one. And I'll see you tomorrow for another monkfish video.